Everyone keeps asking the same question. Could Tupac still be alive? New evidence has surfaced. People who were closest to him are saying strange things. And some even claim they've seen him long after his reported death, from mysterious sightings in Cuba to shocking interviews with Suge Knight. The story keeps getting stranger, and the more you dig, the more questions there are. What really happened that night in Las Vegas? And is it possible that the world was never meant to see the real Tupac again? People keep asking the same thing. Could Tupac still be alive? Nobody truly knows, and that mystery is exactly why the story refuses to die. Recently, new evidence surfaced online claiming Tupac never passed, and artists reacted instantly. Some even admitted, "Man, this new Tupac stuff got my head spinning. What if the GOAT really is alive?" Part of the hype came from an officer who claimed Tupac wasn't a real street guy at all. He said Pac was actually placed in the industry to help cool down the violence between the red and blue street groups. When a journalist spoke to Tupac's longtime mentor, former Black Panther Chuck Lumumba, who also managed Pac early in his career, he confirmed something surprising. When asked if Tupac sometimes played a certain role to connect with young men in the streets, he said yes. According to him, Tupac and his stepfather, Mutulu Shakur, created the thug life idea as a way to unite gangs and push for peace, first in LA, then across California, and eventually across the country behind the bandanas and the bravado. Tupac was actually an intellectual, someone who used strategy, not violence, to reach people. But even with all his careful planning and smart intentions, Tupac's life didn't unfold the way he or anyone expected. Behind the public persona of the fearless, unbreakable rapper was a man who was far more complex and vulnerable than most people realized. Many who studied his life closely argue that Tupac wasn't nearly as street or tough as his image suggested. The thug life he portrayed, the bravado, the constant swagger, it was a performance, a carefully crafted mask that allowed him to navigate a dangerous world while still pursuing his true goals. One biographer who spent years researching Tupac's life explained that he wasn't someone who actually knew how to handle a firearm, nor did he have the athletic ability or physical toughness that his onstage persona implied. The violence, the constant tension with rival crews, the near-constant threats, it wasn't his natural environment, but he was thrust into it. Over time, the line between the person he truly was and the image he portrayed blurred. He wasn't that guy, the writer explained, but he started believing the role. He fully method acted it. Tupac's transformation into the thug life figure wasn't just about marketing or reputation, it was about survival, influence, and sending a message. He wanted to inspire people, to speak to the struggles of the streets, and to mediate conflicts that could have escalated into far worse violence. Yet, in doing so, he trapped himself in an identity that wasn't fully his own. The character he inhabited demanded toughness, aggression, and a level of confrontation he was never truly trained for. It's heartbreaking to consider that while Tupac was admired, feared, and celebrated for a persona he projected, the real man behind the music was far more cerebral, reflective, and strategic. He had visions of activism, intellectual growth, and reconciliation that often got lost in the chaos of the lifestyle he had to perform. That internal tension between the actor and the authentic person shaped his music, his words, and ultimately, his fate. In the end, Tupac's story is a reminder of the complexities behind fame and myth. The image of the untouchable rapper, constantly embroiled in conflict, obscures the truth of a man who carefully curated his persona, method acted his way through life, and used performance as both armor and platform. Tragically, the very persona that gave him influence and power also contributed to the dangerous circumstances that led to his untimely death, leaving fans and historians to wonder what the world might have seen if the real Tupac had been allowed to live freely as himself. Things get even stranger when you look at a 2010 interview with rapper Trey. He and Tupac had worked together and were close back in the day. After Trey finished the interview, the cameraman forgot to stop filming and casually asked when Trey last saw Tupac. Without hesitation, without even blinking, Trey answered, like the question was completely normal. Then, only weeks later, people online claimed they found a video showing Tupac in a parking lot in Cuba. In the clip, someone points and says, "Look, that's Pac." Man, this single moment exploded into the now famous Tupac is alive in Cuba theory. But the strangest part comes from someone who knew Tupac better than most, Suge Knight. For over 20 years, Suge has repeatedly said he believes Tupac might still be alive. And remember, Suge was with Tupac on the night everything happened. If anyone would know the truth, it would be him. Sugi has always claimed that when he visited Tupac in the hospital, Pac was awake, laughing, and talking with him. He said, "When I left the hospital, me and Pac were laughing and joking. I don't understand how someone goes from doing good to doing bad like that." But police reports say something totally different. According to them, Tupac arrived at the hospital unconscious and in a deep sleep, meaning he couldn't have been laughing or talking at all. Yet, Sugi repeated the same story again years later. He insisted Tupac was conscious on the way to the hospital, conscious after surgery, conscious the whole time. And that's why people still wonder. The stories don't match. The evidence is confusing. The people closest to him keep saying strange things, so the question lives on. Is Tupac really gone? Or is there more to the story than we've ever been told? When people ask, what were Tupac's final words? The truth is, no one really knows. But what happened afterward only made the mystery even deeper. Not long after Suge Knight publicly talked about Tupac possibly still being alive, someone at a club tried to fire shots in Suge's direction. He didn't tell the police anything. He believed the attack happened because he had spoken about Tupac just weeks earlier. But Sugi wasn't the only one. His son Suge Knight Jr. stirred up even more questions. Out of nowhere, he posted on Instagram claiming Tupac was alive and living in Malaysia. Days later, he shared screenshots of a text message warning him, "You said too much. It's time for you to go." He didn't stop there. He uploaded photos showing Tupac edited into pictures with modern celebrities like 50 Cent and Beyoncé. Under the Beyoncé picture, he wrote, "He never left us, but they'll come after me soon." Some fans thought he was just chasing clout, but others believed he might be telling the truth. After all, Suge Knight was with Tupac on the night everything happened. If anybody's family would know secrets, it would be his. Then investigators uncovered something else. Evidence suggesting Tupac may have used Diddy to help fake his own passing. Police revealed that back in November 1995, Tupac was photographed with Diddy's longtime love interest, Sarah Chapman. Diddy always described Sarah as the woman of his dreams, so when she got close to Tupac, he couldn't stand it. Tupac even claimed Diddy once tried to have him harmed. When asked, Pac said, "I believe it. I have proof. Things I could say, but the world doesn't need to know. It's between me and him." Pac said he was shot 5 times, but the police only confirmed 1 bullet wound. That detail sparked confusion and doubt. According to court claims, Diddy allegedly tried again. In a later trial, a former police officer testified that Diddy put out $1 million deal to have Tupac taken out, which then led Suga to retaliate by targeting Biggie. Investigators believe Diddy hired Keefe D to organize the whole attack. For years, Keefe D remained free until detectives secretly recorded him talking. In that recording, he admitted he met with Diddy multiple times across San Diego, Anaheim, Irvine, and Las Vegas. When asked which meeting involved the hit, Keefe D hinted it was about both Tupac and Suge Knight. Shortly after that recording leaked, Diddy was confronted during a live interview. The moment turned extremely uncomfortable. The host asked about the allegations, and Diddy shut it down instantly, saying, "We don't talk about nonsense. We don't entertain nonsense. With all respect, we're not even going there." He brushed it off like it was ridiculous. But soon after, headlines exploded. Diddy mentioned 77 times in new legal filing questioning his role in Tupac's death. Even 50 Cent couldn't resist reacting. He joked that he needed therapy because every time he talks about Diddy, he ends up saying the wrong thing. He added that he never liked Diddy and that he believed Diddy had something to do with Tupac. All these pieces, strange interviews, leaked recordings, jealous relationships, and people close to Tupac speaking out keep the questions alive. Was Tupac really gone, or was there something much bigger happening behind the scenes? Some fans once joked that Diddy might have taken down my boyfriend because he got Tupac, but when people dig into the case, they discover something bigger. Most theories suggest Diddy wasn't the only person involved. New reports claim that the new investigation into Tupac's death has brought up different names, new angles, and fresh evidence. One of the names mentioned again and again is Suge Knight. Because Suge was so close to Tupac at the time, a lot of attention has turned toward him. That's why old comments from Eminem suddenly seem important again. Years ago, Eminem made a bold statement, saying, "I'm holding Suge responsible for the deaths of the 2 greatest rappers to ever walk the planet. If only Christopher Wallace could speak, he'd say the same." Eminem strongly believed Suge was connected to the deaths of both Tupac and Biggie. But he wasn't the only one pointing fingers. In another report, Detective Russell Poole claimed Sugi may have planned to take Tupac out before he could leave Death Row Records. According to that theory, Suga supposedly tried to frame the rival Blue Team to distract investigators. That raises another major question: which famous member of that team was being hinted at? For many people, the biggest name is Snoop Dogg. When you go back to the night Tupac was shot, you find something surprising. Snoop was originally supposed to be in the same BMW with Tupac, but at the last minute, the plan changed. In an interview, Snoop explained he didn't give Tupac advice that night because they weren't getting along. "We weren't seeing eye to eye. When we got back to LA, they went to Vegas and I went home." He said the reason he backed away was because of a disagreement between them. Just days earlier, Snoop explained that he had once praised Puffy and Biggie during an interview. He said he liked their music and wanted to work with them. Tupac didn't take that well. On the flight home, Snoop didn't even allow his own team to ride with him because he didn't trust the situation. He even admitted he slept with a knife and a fork just in case something went wrong. All of this happened within 72 hours of the shooting, and that timing raised a lot of suspicion. It's also important to remember that Snoop was deeply connected in street circles back then. If there had been a plot against Tupac, Snoop might have heard something. Maybe that's why he chose not to be with Tupac that night. Snoop later said that 2 days before the shooting, their friendship had completely changed. "A week before he died, we were best friends. 2 days before, I don't think he liked me." According to Snoop, it all went bad during a trip to New York. He said he was attacked, and when he forgave the people involved, Tupac couldn't understand it. Snoop had been thinking about music and peace. Tupac had been thinking about betrayal and loyalty, and that emotional clash might have created the distance between them just before the tragedy. Snoop Dogg explained that when he said he wanted to do music with Puffy and Biggie, it rubbed Tupac the wrong way. Tupac had already been upset about previous conflicts. Someone had tried to attack Snoop, and suddenly Snoop was talking about collaborating with people Tupac didn't fully trust. Snoop admitted he wasn't thinking about Tupac's feelings at the time. He was focused on his own, but he insisted he meant no harm. "I wasn't into controversy. I liked their music. They were our friends. We were all friends at one point." Video footage even shows Tupac, Snoop, and their friends hanging out together, reinforcing that friendship existed before tension grew. But things turned deadly. On September 7, 1996, a night that would go down in hip-hop history, Tupac was in Las Vegas with Suge Knight to attend a Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand. After the match, they ran into people they had ongoing issues with: Orlando Anderson, his cousin, and to friends inside the lobby, according to statements later given to LAPD detective Greg Kading. The conflict was retaliation. Tupac had jumped Orlando months earlier at the casino because Orlando had allegedly stolen a necklace from him back in Compton. Security quickly broke up the altercation, and Tupac, Suge, and their entourage left the casino to return to the hotel and change for the night. By around 11 p.m., Tupac and Sugi left the hotel and got into a BMW to head to a nearby club. But as they stopped at a red light, another car aware of Tupac's plans pulled up alongside them. Members of the rival crew, including Orlando and Keith D, were cruising the strip in a white Cadillac, looking for Tupac's group. At the intersection of East Flamingo Boulevard and Cova Lane, the Cadillac pulled alongside the BMW. Shots rang out. Tupac was hit twice in the chest, once in the arm, and once in the thigh. Despite the attack being captured on surveillance, the case remained unsolved for years. Then Keffe D, one of the alleged participants, finally gave an interview claiming his involvement. He said he was in the Cadillac with the driver bubble up, and Baby Lane and Freaky were in the back seat. "We were all in the car together. This was the white Cadillac. We were driving around. Then we heard people shouting, 'Tupac, Tupac,' and we got to the light. After Tupac and Sugi left the hotel, the white Cadillac carrying Keffe D, Orlando Anderson, and others closed in on their BMW. Keffe D later claimed that Tupac seemed to reach for a firearm just before the attack, though that detail has never been confirmed. As they drove up alongside the BMW, Tupac was in the passenger seat, Sugi behind the wheel. Keffe D said it looked like Tupac was reaching for something. He added that someone from the Cadillac fired first. From the start, the police suspected Keffe D's involvement. He was interrogated on the night of the shooting. According to accounts, Orlando Anderson leaned out the window, locking eyes with someone in the BMW as Tupac tried to maneuver inside the Carither to defend himself or get out of the backseat. Police reports later included Keffe D's own reaction to Tupac's death, showing a mix of regret and disbelief. He admitted, Man, I hate that happened. I really do. It was wrong. Just purely wrong. I wish it never happened. That's my opinion. It should never have gone down like that. Even years later, those words reveal the weight of the night and the lasting impact it had on everyone involved.